ever catch yourself thinking, like, if only I had a roadmap, for this whole financial freedom thing, one that didn't involve, like, becoming some stock market whiz? Well, today we're diving into The 4-Minute Millionaire by Nicholas Goke. And turns out there might just be one. And don't worry, this isn't about, like, those get-rich-quick schemes you see everywhere. It's more about, those smart habits you can build for lasting wealth.
Yeah, that's what's so great about Goke's approach. He gets that most people don't have hours to like sit there and decode Wall Street jargon.
Oh,
So
oh,
instead,
wow.
he breaks down like these big, complicated financial concepts
Oh.
into, these manageable 4-minute lessons, making it like way more accessible to, well, everyone really.
And honestly, the thing I found really refreshing is how Goke emphasizes that it's not even really about how much money you have, like right now, but it's more about what you actually do with it. It's about taking action.
It's so easy to like get overwhelmed when you're first starting out, especially, if you're not exactly rolling in dough just yet. But Goke's argument is that even those small, consistent actions, they build this like powerful momentum over time.
So less about waiting for that lucky lottery ticket and more about like really making the most of what you've got already, huh?
Absolutely. He actually uses this like really compelling example from financial expert Scott Rekens. It's about this couple. They were earning under $50,000 a year. And I mean, they weren't exactly living large or anything, but get this, by learning to live on just 65% of their income, they were suddenly able to invest $18,000 every single year.
Wow. Okay, that's like a real perspective shift. Because you hear $50,000 income and you kind of think limited options.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they found a way to make some serious moves. It's like that old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Precisely. And what's even more encouraging? Goke, he highlights how far even just, small amounts of money can actually go in today's market.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it. With just $100, you could buy fractional shares of, like, Amazon.
Ooh, okay. Owning a tiny little piece of Bezos's empire. I mean, I kind of like the sound of that. What other kinds of possibilities does he highlight?
Oh, the options. They're, like, surprisingly diverse. You could invest in, like, online
Wow.
courses, right, to,
Mm.
gain valuable skills.
Mm.
Or you could even explore, like, crowdfunding projects, ones that really, like, resonate with you personally.
So instead of thinking, oh, I can't afford to invest, it's more about asking, okay, how can I like make my money work for me, even if it's just, a little bit right now?
You got it. It's all about shifting that mindset, right?
Mhm.
From scarcity to one of empowerment. But, he also acknowledges that this whole investment thing, it can be kind of intimidating for people. There's this like natural fear of risk.
Oh, yeah. Especially, with all those stories you hear about like volatile markets and investments that just totally tanked. So how does Goke address that fear?
He tackles it head on. He tells this like really fascinating anecdote about this guy, Tom Lee, a financial analyst who's known for his predictions about Bitcoin.
Ah, Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, the roller coaster ride of the investment world. So what did he predict? And more importantly, I guess, was he right?
So back in 2017, Lee, he boldly predicted that Bitcoin's value was going to like totally explode. But at first it seemed like he was way off. Like the price actually plummeted by 75%. And for 3 years, his prediction, it was like a distant memory.
Okay, so what happened? Did Bitcoin eventually recover?
It did. Eventually, it surpassed even Lee's predictions. And the takeaway here, the big one, is that every investment, every single one, carries some level of risk. And if you try to avoid risk entirely, well, your money just sits there, idle. It doesn't do anything.
So it's not about like pretending risk doesn't exist. It's about, like you said, understanding how to manage it effectively.
Exactly. See, Lee probably advised his clients to only invest a small part of their portfolio in Bitcoin. And that's what we call smart risk management, taking calculated risks, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right, and I imagine part of that is being like mentally prepared for those inevitable dips and valleys that the market throws at you.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game,
Yeah.
having the perspective to, ride out those fluctuations.
Okay, this is all great advice. So we talked about starting small. We talked about managing risk. What else does Goke suggest we do to like make this whole millionaire status actually feel achievable?
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. Goke argues that investing should actually be, get this, exciting. He really believes that the more you enjoy it, the more likely you are to stay engaged for the long haul.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, nobody sticks with something they find totally boring or tedious,
Yeah.
right? Especially when it comes to something as, important as your finances.
Right, exactly. And that's why he actually introduces 7 what he calls new asset classes.
Okay.
And these go beyond, your typical stocks and bonds. These options are designed to like spark your interest and make investing feel, engaging, even fun.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. What are some of these unconventional options we're talking about?
Well, one that immediately caught my eye was this whole idea of fractional art ownership.
Wait, hold on. You mean like owning a tiny little piece of like a Picasso? Tell me more.
Precisely. There are companies like Masterworks that are making this a reality.
Yeah.
You're essentially diversifying your portfolio, but at the same time, you're owning a piece of art history.
Imagine like the dinner party conversations you could have. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this little old thing. Yeah, just a fraction of my Picasso collection. Okay, I love it. So
Uh,
what else is on this list of exciting new assets?
Another super fascinating option is something called pre-IPO shares. Basically, it's investing in startups, but you're doing it before they go public on the stock market.
Ooh, so you're like potentially getting it on the ground floor of the next big thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely, higher risk, higher reward. But for those who are, a little more adventurous with their investments, it can be pretty thrilling.
Okay, high stakes, high potential rewards. I'm sensing a bit of a theme here. What else have you got?
All right. Well, Goka also dives into this whole world of crowd investing, which has really exploded in popularity in recent years.
Crowd investing. Okay, that rings a bell. Is that like similar to Kickstarter but for businesses?
That's actually a great comparison. Platforms like Crowdcube, they allow you to directly invest in businesses that you believe in, and often it's in exchange for like equity in the company or some other kind of reward.
So instead of just like backing a product you like on Kickstarter, you could become like a mini investor in, well, anything really, from like your favorite local bakery to like a musician's new album. I mean, I like it.
Right. It's a way to kind of put your money where your passions are, but also potentially, getting in on the ground floor of something big. Gog actually even mentions this case where, get this, someone invested in a YouTube channel through crowdfunding.
Wow. Now that's what I call putting your money where your interests are. Okay, this is fascinating stuff. But I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface of Gok's 7 new asset classes. What else is on the list?
Ready to like unearth more of these unconventional investment opportunities because we've still got a few more of Gog's 7 new asset classes to uncover.
Oh, absolutely. This is way more exciting than like my usual internal debate about whether I should move some money to my savings account.
Right. Well, another one Gog highlights is this whole growing world of music royalties as an investment.
Music royalties. Okay, so you mean like the money that songwriters and artists earn when their music is played.
Yes, exactly. And there are platforms out there like Songvest that actually let you buy and sell shares of those royalties. Just imagine like owning a piece of a hit song. So every time it's streamed or, played on the radio, you'd earn a portion of the royalties.
No way. That's incredible. So, like, theoretically, I could invest in a song I love and then literally see a return on my investment every time it plays.
Exactly. It's like it adds this whole new dimension to being a music fan.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of how Gook wants us to, think outside the box when it comes to investing.
Okay, I'm sold. Adding buy shares of a chart-topping hit to my financial goals list right now. So, what else does Goke suggest?
All right. Well, he also introduces this idea of crowdsourced index funds.
Crowdsource meaning like they're created by like a community of investors rather than, some big financial institution.
Exactly. A lot of investing apps nowadays, they offer features where users can actually like create and share their own index funds. And essentially you're building this like customized basket of stocks, but it's based on, your own research or areas that you're personally interested in.
That sounds so empowering. So instead of just like blindly following a traditional index fund, I can, curate one that actually aligns with my values or like my own personal market outlook. But that does mean I actually need, a bit more knowledge and like have to do my research, right?
You're right, it definitely does. But for those who are willing to like put in the effort, it can be incredibly, incredibly rewarding because it's about, really taking control of your investments and making sure they align with your beliefs.
Yeah, I can see how that would be really appealing to like a lot of people. It's like the difference between like ordering off a menu and, creating your own recipe. Okay, so we've got fractional art ownership, we've got pre-IPO shares, crowd investing, music royalties, and crowdsourced index funds. So what are the last two on Group's list of these exciting new asset classes?
Okay, so the next one he talks about, it's actually a more, established asset, but he kind of presents it in this new light, and that's real estate.
Real estate, but isn't that a pretty like traditional investment? What's the new angle that Goke brings?
Well, you're right. Real estate has, always been a pretty popular way to invest. But what Go points out is that it doesn't have to mean like buying a whole house. He talks about this concept called fractional real estate investing.
So like similar to owning those fractional shares of like a company or a piece of art, you can actually own a fraction of a property. So like how does that even work?
There are platforms popping up that actually let you invest in these like commercial real estate projects,
Hmm.
but you can do it with like much smaller amounts of capital. You could literally own a tiny little piece of like a skyscraper, a shopping mall, or even an apartment complex.
Wow, that's really interesting. It makes like the whole world of real estate investing so much more like accessible, especially, for people who don't have the money for those like traditional down payments and mortgages.
Exactly. And it can be a really great way to, diversify your portfolio beyond just like the typical stocks and bonds.
Hmm.
And it even has the potential for, passive income, through like rental income or even property appreciation.
So even with a smaller investment, I could still, potentially benefit from those like
Uh,
forces that drive the more, I don't know, traditional real estate investments. That's fantastic. Okay, so what about the final asset class on Goke's list? What's the last one?
all right. So this last one, it might surprise you. Goke actually believes that investing in yourself, like literally investing in YU, is one of the most valuable investments you can possibly make.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, knowledge is power, right? And skills and experiences, those can all like pay dividends in the long run. But how does he see that as an asset class, like in the context of financial planning?
So Goke's argument is that investing in, your education, whether that's, formal degrees or, even just online courses, workshops, or even, just reading books, it can have this huge impact on your earning potential over time.
So he's basically saying that like investing in yourself now can lead to higher income later and then better career opportunities and ultimately, greater financial freedom.
Exactly. And the best part is it doesn't even have to be, this huge financial investment up front. I mean, think about it. There are tons of like free or low-cost resources that are available online. And even, small investments in like books or online courses, those can have huge returns when it comes to, knowledge and developing your skills.
So rounding out Doak's list of these unconventional asset classes, we've got fractional real estate investing. And then this whole concept of like investing in yourself as this powerful tool to build wealth. What I'm really like starting to appreciate is how Goak challenges these like traditional notions of what investing even looks like and who it's actually for. It's not, just for the wealthy elite anymore.
You hit the nail on the head. That's Gook's message in a nutshell. He wants to empower everyone to take control of their financial futures. And it doesn't matter, what their background is or even their, current financial situation.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. So we covered all seven of Goek's, new asset classes. But what's really resonating with me is this shift in mindset he's like really advocating for. It's not about, chasing some arbitrary number, it's about developing healthy financial habits and making these, informed decisions that actually align with your own personal goals. But how does he actually suggest like putting all this into practice? What are some tangible steps that, our listeners can take to like start their own 4-minute millionaire journey?
You're absolutely right. It really is all about like actually taking action. And Gook, he really emphasizes that education, that's like the first crucial step. Got to start there.
Yeah, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about something as, important as your finances. So like what kind of knowledge are we even, talking about here? Does everyone need to go out and become like a financial expert?
Not really, no. Gook's point is you don't need to be like a Wall Street whiz or anything, but having like even just a basic understanding of the, those key financial concepts,
Yeah.
that's essential. That's the baseline.
Okay, so like what are like some of the must-know areas that he highlights in the book?
So he really stresses like how important it is to grasp concepts like well, budgeting, obviously,
Hmm.
but then like saving, right,
Yeah.
investing, and then like actually understanding the different asset classes.
Hmm.
So it's more about, becoming this like informed investor. It's not just throwing your money at something and crossing your fingers, hoping for the best.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's about, making these educated decisions, not just relying on, luck or chance. But for those of us who like didn't major in finance, I mean, where do we even like begin to learn all of this stuff?
Well, the good news is, I mean, think about it. There's so many resources available now, like more than ever before. You've got books, podcasts, online courses. I mean, the list goes on. There's even like the option of, if it feels right for you, actually consulting with a financial advisor.
Right. It's like that saying, the best investment you can make is in yourself. Right. And when you think about it, I mean, investing in your financial education, that's a lifelong thing. That's something that's going to pay off for years to come.
Couldn't agree more.
Right.
And another super important point that Gook makes is this whole idea of, setting these like clear, concrete financial goals.
Yeah, because I mean, just saying, "Oh, I want to be, financially free." That's a little vague, right? Like, if you really want to make progress, you kind of need something, specific to actually work towards.
Exactly. It's about having that like clear vision, right? So
Mhm.
whether your dream is, buying a house or maybe it's retiring early or even something, totally different like traveling the world, whatever it is, having that clear vision of what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to fuel your motivation and it's going to help you stay on track when things get tough.
So it's almost like you got to figure out, what does financial freedom actually like look like for you? Like, what's going to bring meaning and purpose to your life?
Precisely. Your goals, they got to be personal.
Yeah.
It's got to matter to you. And once you've figured out, what those are, Gok, he actually recommends like breaking those big goals down into these, smaller, more manageable steps.
Right, because it's so easy to get like, overwhelmed when you're only focused on that end goal, right? Which might feel like miles and miles away, but
Yeah,
celebrating those small wins along the way, I mean, that can be incredibly motivating.
you got it. For example, let's say your goal is to save, $10,000. Maybe it's for a down payment on a house, right? Well, instead of focusing on that huge number all at once, start with something smaller, right? Like saving $1,000, and then each like milestone you hit is going to give you that little boost of energy and keep you moving forward.
I love that. It's like celebrating those smaller victories because it just makes the whole journey feel so much more, I don't know, attainable. Plus, it's this great reminder that, even those small, consistent actions, they can lead to like huge results down the line.
Exactly. And Guka, he's really big on this idea of consistency being key,
Mm.
especially when it comes to investing. Because even like, small amounts of money, if you invest them regularly, I mean, those can grow so much over time. And that's thanks to this like magical thing called compound growth.
It's like that old saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And it's true. Like every step, no matter how small, it brings you closer to your destination.
And in this case,
Yeah.
right, that destination, that's you taking control of your financial well-being. So remember, even if you can only spare like, a few minutes each day, those small actions, they build up, they create this ripple effect over time.
This has been like such an insightful deep dive. So if we were to like, distill everything down to like one key takeaway, what would it be? What's like the most important message that you hope, our listeners they take away from this conversation about the 4-Minute Millionaire?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think the most powerful message, at least in my view, is that, building wealth, it's not about, luck. And it's not about like, some privilege that you're born with or something. It's about knowledge. It's about empowering yourself. It's about,
Wow.
really taking control of your financial future. And that starts with, like we were saying, educating yourself, setting these really clear, meaningful goals, and then actually making those, smart, consistent choices that line up with those goals that you set.
It's about, really making that shift, right? From a mindset of like scarcity to a mindset of possibility and abundance. Like even if you're starting small, having that, right knowledge and taking that consistent action, that can lead to like incredible results down the line.
That's exactly it. Honestly, you might just surprise yourself with how much you can really achieve once you set your mind to it and take those first few steps.
This has been a truly like inspiring deep dive into, the world of financial empowerment. So if you're like, ready to take control of your finances and start your own 4-minute millionaire journey, we'll be sure to, link to Gok's book down in the show notes. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into that knowledge that really empowers you